Hey guys, welcome to Cam's Corner. I have not uploaded a video on this channel in several years, but with the new year, I decided to revamp this channel. I get a lot of comments on Cam's Creations, my main channel, asking me to do tutorials or do VFX breakdowns. So I thought I would turn Cam's Corner into that, a place for me to share my creative process, break down how I accomplish certain visual effects or filmmaking techniques. So subscribe if you would like to follow along. For this video, I am going to break down several of the Iron Man visual effects I've done for multiple videos on my main channel. Obviously, this is not going to be movie quality visual effects. My hope is that this can show you what type of effects are possible by just one guy messing around on his computer in his apartment. So enough of me rambling on, let's jump into how to create some cool Iron Man visual effects. So most of these effects were made for a video on my main channel called Everyday Uses of Iron Man Tech. It came out a couple months ago, and I'm pretty happy with how the effects turned out. So let me show you the first one. So the first shot is a shot of an Iron Man drone flying off through a hole in the ceiling. Let me break it down for you. For the 3D model, I purchased it from turbosquid.com. I don't think it was that expensive. I think it was maybe like $50. I imported it into Element 3D, which is a plugin by Videocopilot for After Effects. It is not a sort of like a full-fledged 3D software like Cinema 4D or Blender. Since I'm not that comfortable with sort of like a proper 3D software yet, Element 3D is what I use, and it also integrates super well with After Effects, so it can accomplish a lot of things that I want to. So I applied sort of a metallic brushed metal sort of texture. The next thing is that, as you can see, we have the Iron Man suit sort of like looking upwards and then blasting off. Animation is probably more left for the proper 3D softwares, but Element 3D does have a cool tool that allows you to sort of like cheat animation. To do that Iron Man looking up animation, I went into Element 3D. In the menu, there's a deform section, and under that you have bend. So I got to bend the angle of the Iron Man suit by adjusting the offset as well. And what's happening is just that Element 3D is sort of like deforming the whole 3D model. There's not any rigging or anything in there. We got to have an HDRI, which is sort of a panorama of what the environment is so that the reflections can be accurate and the lighting can be close to accurate as well. I used my phone and sort of moved around and got sort of this panorama of my apartment and then set that as the environment. So that's why the lighting looks pretty accurate to what the actual apartment looks like. And then a very important step to make the 3D model sort of blend and look closer to photoreal is by turning on ambient occlusion, and that sort of just adds all like the little shadows and stuff that are in between sort of like armor pieces and just little things that overlap. And you can see a huge difference when I turn on and off, have ray traced and ambient occlusion on, and now the model looks better. I don't know if there's a better way to phrase that. So next, I think I have a plugin from Red Giant called Shadow that allows me to create a shadow. So basically, it's like sort of a 2D cheat to create this shadow of whatever the layer you have is. And it looks pretty good. So next, we have the proportions that are shooting out of the hands and feet. For those, I actually had pre-existing elements that I purchased from Riot. I'm a big fan of their work. They sell many great visual effects packs on their website. So I purchased one of their packs that included sort of propulsion. So here's the propulsion element. So basically, I created 4 of them and placed them and animated them to sort of match up with the movement of the 3D model. And then in the foreground, as you can see, there's sort of like a dust element. If your CG element has like a environmental interaction, it kind of like helps blend it better. So I got a dust wave from ActionVFX. They probably have the best stock elements on the internet. I've used them in all my videos. This is just one of their dust at camera 9. Oof. It looks like there's sort of, it kicks up a bunch of dust. And lastly, for this shot, the glow of the eyes and the arc reactor on the chest. Create a white solid and then mask around the eyes and the chest and sort of animate the mask to match up to the model's movement. And there you go. So the next shot is this sky door that opens up. For this one, similarly, I use Element 3D. Instead of having a pre-existing model, I created a solid and then added masks, an outside ring mask and an inside ring mask. And the inside ring mask was animated to go from small and then to big. For Element, I used custom layers to choose that layer as the custom mask. And then once I extruded the model, it created this metal donut that would become our gate. And then the animation of the mask also applies to the 3D model. Applied a metal texture, and then you have this cool sort of metallic look. Once again, use an HDRI to get the lighting and the reflections accurate. Then also I animated rotation of the entire model, sort of it looks like it's like a spinning gate that opens up as it spins. I got a plate that we shot outside of the blue sky, and then got a plate of the apartment ceiling and composited those together, and now it looks like there's a metal gate that spins open. And so here we have another shot of the Iron Man suit flying out of a roof, behind some trees, and then curving back and then flying directly past camera. So this one is sort of similar, a lot of the same techniques as the earlier Iron Man drone shot I showed you. Same 3D model, textures, and then once again, I used different bend and deform tools to cheat an animation, using keyframes to adjust its movement and rotation, and then using the bend to have its like legs bend forward and deform and then stretch back out as it flies towards us. The 3D model follows a no object that it's connected to, and the no object follows a flight path and a keyframe animated. And then once again, I add all the propulsion elements from Film Riot, make sure those match up and sync up with the model. When he first flies out, only the boosters from the feet are on. And then as he rounds a corner, that's when the hand boosters come on, and then he flies past us. And one cool thing about the sky being blue is that you can chroma key it as if it's a blue screen. That's how I chroma keyed out and got an element of just the foreground without the sky. That way I could put the 3D model behind the trees, so it looks like it starts out behind the trees and the building, and then loops around and now it's in front. The next shot, this one is a shot where I have an Iron Man repulsor gauntlet, and it shoots out a repulsor beam. For the beam itself, I used an amazing free plugin by Videocopilot called Saber. So if you're interested in doing lightsaber effects or like heat vision lasers out of your eyes, Saber is a great free plugin for After Effects. For this one, I changed the settings so it looks what sort of an Iron Man repulsor beam looks like, and then adjusted the distortion and the glow. What really sells the effect for this are the sparks. The sparks are, once again, from Film Riot. Film Riot has this great explosions and energy pack. I just added a couple of these sparks so it looks like when the energy is shooting out, it's hitting the metal and it's like sparks are flying out. Cool. So the next one is a sort of a future heads-up display, a point of view shot. For this video, he was wearing Edith glasses from Spider-Man Far From Home. So first is the actual, like the main heads-up display. That is actually the element that I downloaded from Storyblocks.com. I have a membership to their website. It allows me unlimited downloading of stock footage. That's been so helpful. Pretty much every video I make, I can always utilize a few of their elements. So I threw on some Videocopilot's Color Vibrance plugin, which is also free. If you want to tint an element certain color, that's my go-to. And then throwing on a layer of glow. For the background, this is also another stock element from Storyblocks. A video file I found of Tokyo at night. The other element is just like a screenshot I took of my friend Daichi, and who helps out on my videos. Shout out to Daichi. And then this sort of like framing him is, I just Google searched future heads-up display frame. I just found it on Google Images. And the final effect I would like to break down is the sort of iconic Iron Man heads-up display. So whenever he's in the suit and we see Tony Stark talking, he has all these like glowing heads-up elements that are sort of like are tracked to his face. So first, After Effects has an awesome effect where you can motion track a face. It knows exactly where the eyes are, the noses, the mouth. So I filmed myself against a green screen using a mask. I masked only just my face was visible to match sort of how it looks like in the movies. Then I needed a lot of futuristic looking HUD elements. To get those elements, I used a plugin from Red Giant called Uni HUD Component. They have a bunch of presets in a library. I just sort of looked through them, found things that I thought looked like they could work, and then placed them in different spots on the frame. And then using sort of the facial tracking info that I got from tracking the face, I attached the movements to my face using two null objects, sort of one to represent the back of the head, which is fairly stationary because I was just rotating my head in one place, and the other was the tip of my nose. So that created a 3D movement where instead of just matching in a 2D plane of where things were moving, it matched sort of in 3D space where it was rotating and pivoting. So that way, everything matched up with my head's rotation versus just the 2D placement of where the tracker was. Once everything is combined, we have the Iron Man HUD effect, where he's inside the suit or inside the Iron Man helmet. So yeah, those are some of my favorite Iron Man effects I've done on my channel. And if you want to watch the finished videos, I'll put the links to them in the description below. Hope you learned something from watching me break down those effects. And in the comments, let me know what effects you would like to see me break down next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week with a new video. Bye.